The tragic life of Fat Lever, from triple-double machine to forgotten legend. Fat Lever ended not with retirement, but with a devastating knee injury that robbed basketball of one of its most unique talents. This is the story of a man who achieved something no other player in NBA history has done, yet somehow disappeared from basketball conversations entirely. Most fans have never heard of Fat Lever. That's the real tragedy here, because what this man accomplished on a basketball court defies belief. Born in Pine Bluff, Arkansas in 1960, Lafayette Lever got his nickname early, but there was nothing fat about his game. Standing just 6'3" and weighing only 170 pounds, he looked more like a college student than an NBA star. The Portland Trail Blazers drafted him in 1982. For 2 seasons, he played limited minutes. Nobody expected much from the skinny kid from Arkansas. But when Portland traded him to Denver in 1984, everything changed. Denver gave Lever the keys to their offense. What happened next shocked the basketball world. This undersized guard started putting up numbers that made no sense. He wasn't just scoring, he was rebounding like a center. He was stealing balls like a pickpocket. He was dishing assists like Magic Johnson. By 1987, Fat Lever had become something basketball had never seen before. He was averaging nearly 19 points per game. But here's the crazy part. He was also grabbing 9 rebounds per game as a point guard at 6'3". Think about that for a second. In today's NBA, Russell Westbrook gets praised for his rebounding. Westbrook is 6'3". He averages around 10 rebounds per game in his best seasons. Fat Lever was doing this in the 1980s when the league was packed with 7-footers. But Lever wasn't done. He was also averaging 7.5 assists per game and 2.5 steals. Those aren't good numbers. Those are historic numbers. Here's a stat that will blow your mind. Fat Lever is the only player in NBA history to average at least 14 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, and 2 steals over his entire career. The only one, ever, in the entire history of basketball. Let that sink in. We're talking about a league that's had thousands of players. Magic Johnson never did it. Michael Jordan never did it. LeBron James never did it. Oscar Robertson never did it. Only Fat Lever. The triple-doubles started piling up. In 1987, he recorded 16 triple-doubles. That same season, Magic Johnson had 3. Larry Bird had 1. Lever was outplaying legends and nobody was paying attention. His rebounding was especially insane. Lever became the shortest player in NBA history to lead his team in rebounding for an entire season. He did this 3 times, while playing point guard, against teams with multiple 7-footers. The defensive numbers were equally ridiculous. He once recorded 10 steals in a single game. That's tied for second most in NBA history. He set a record with 8 steals in 1 quarter. His career steal percentage ranks 8th all-time. Here's another crazy stat. Lever averaged more steals than turnovers over his entire career. For a point guard handling the ball constantly, that's nearly impossible. But Lever did it, every single season. Why wasn't anyone watching? Simple. Denver wasn't on TV. This was the 1980s. There was no internet, no social media. If you didn't live in Denver, you never saw Fat Lever play. The Nuggets were never on national broadcasts, but that wasn't the only problem. Lever had the worst possible timing. He played in the era of Michael Jordan. He played in the era of Magic Johnson. He played in the era of Isaiah Thomas. These guys were superstars. They had personalities. They had flash. They had style. Fat Lever had none of that. He was quiet. He was humble. He never talked trash. He never hyped himself up. He just played basketball. Pure, efficient, beautiful basketball. But nobody cared about that in the 1980s. The media wanted showtime. They wanted flying dunks and flashy passes. They wanted personalities they could market. Fat Lever gave them statistical perfection wrapped in the most boring package possible. His playing style was compared to an accountant, efficient and relentless rather than spectacular. His on-court demeanor was described as emotionless. He wanted to fly under the radar. He just loved the game and wanted to play it well. Even his teammates got more attention. Alex English was scoring 25 points per game in Denver. The media loved English. He was smooth. He was cool. Meanwhile, Lever was doing things that had never been done before, and nobody noticed. The NBA All-Star selections came slowly, just 2 in his entire career. He made 1 All-NBA second team, 1 All-Defensive second team. For a player putting up historic numbers, that's insulting. The competition for guard spots was brutal. With only 2 All-NBA guard positions available, Jordan, Magic, and Isaiah monopolized the recognition. Lever was effectively blocked from accumulating the accolades his performance deserved. But Lever kept playing. He kept producing. He kept leading Denver to the playoffs year after year. The Nuggets averaged 44 wins per season during his prime. He never complained. He never demanded trades. He just showed up and dominated in every statistical category that mattered. Denver retired his number 12 jersey. He was named to their all-time starting five. The franchise recognized his greatness even if the national media didn't. Then 1990 happened. Denver traded him to Dallas. That's when everything fell apart. Lever played just 4 games for the Mavericks in his first season. His knee gave out. He needed surgery. That was supposed to be the end of it. One surgery, then back to basketball. But the knee didn't heal right. He needed another surgery. That cost him most of the 1992 season. Then he needed another surgery. That cost him all of 1993. The injuries were devastating. For a player whose game relied on explosiveness and constant movement, losing his knees was a death sentence. The man who once led his team in rebounding couldn't even jump anymore. When Lever finally returned in 1994, he wasn't the same player. The explosiveness was gone. The rebounding numbers dropped. The steals disappeared. He couldn't attack the rim anymore. He became a jump shooter, and not a very good one. His final season was painful to watch. Despite playing 81 games, his scoring hit career lows. His rebounding hit career lows. His assists hit career lows. The man who once stuffed every statistical category was barely an NBA player. Meanwhile, Dallas was falling apart without him. In 1993, when Lever missed the entire season, the Mavericks went 11-71. That's one of the worst records in NBA history. The team could only rely on Derek Harper. They were completely lost without their floor general. Lever retired after that 1994 season. He was only 34 years old. In today's NBA, that's when players are hitting their second prime. But his knees were done. His career was over. Now comes the really tragic part. Despite everything he accomplished, Fat Lever isn't in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Think about that. The only player in history to average 14 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, and 2 steals isn't in the Hall of Fame. Of the top 23 triple-double leaders in NBA history, Fat Lever is the only eligible player not in the Hall of Fame. Russell Westbrook is in there. Jason Kidd is in there. Magic Johnson is in there. Everyone except Fat Lever. The arguments against him are weak. Critics say his stats were inflated by Denver's fast pace, but even pace adjusted, his numbers remain incredible. They say he never won enough, but he led mediocre teams to consistent playoff appearances. The real reason is simpler. He played for small market teams. He wasn't flashy. His career got cut short by injuries. He played in the shadow of bigger personalities. Fat Lever currently works for the Sacramento Kings as their director of player development. He also does radio commentary. He stays connected to the game he dominated. But most fans have no idea they're in the presence of basketball royalty. This is why Fat Lever's story is so tragic. Not because of the injuries, though. Those were devastating. The tragedy is that one of the most unique talents in basketball history has been completely erased from basketball memory. In an era obsessed with triple-doubles, we've forgotten the original triple-double machine. In an era that values versatility, we've forgotten the most versatile guard ever. Fat Lever deserves better than being forgotten.